Hey everyone, this is Chad Agrawal. I'm the owner of Perfect Clicks LLC. We're a digital marketing agency based here in Parsippany, New Jersey. Today we're going to be talking about how to choose a font for your brand. This is obviously a huge piece of your logo, your branding, your web presence, your website, your headers, your body. Everything is really predicated on how people are going to feel about your brand when they're writing, when they're reading and seeing that type font. Is going to give off an emotion and a feel so that your brand could be presented in the best light. So I want to share a few tips on how to choose that font, what you should be looking for in terms of your licensing, and also in terms of the type of font, where to look and how to choose the right one for you. So let's jump into it. I'm going to share a little bit of information about a current client that I'm working on and how we had to work around some of these issues, and so that way you could save some money on your either your business or a client of yours. And also I'm going to share some past experience on where we found some great fonts for previous clients and how we're able to customize them and give them a really high level Fortune 500 or corporate feel when maybe, before they were trying to upgrade from being a small business to a more enterprise setting. Let's jump into it, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, so today we're working with somebody in the hospitality industry. I always say that you should look at your competitors, where you want to go. Ideally, you should base everything off of your brand purpose, your brand mission, vision, and values. That's really where you want all of your information to come through. However, most designers and agencies will have to work off of something that the client already has. Sometimes they already have a logo, a decal, a font, a design, and a lot of times they don't have the exact font that they were using or the type of source files that are needed to recreate that logo at a scalable format. So one thing to think about is just really make sure you get your branding right, or you get the files that you need to get the branding right. So that's a whole nother video talking about, the type of clientele that you should have and the type of branding that you should do. So with that being said, we're just going to assume that you have something, that you're working off of something, and you're working within a specific industry. This is actually a great example because it really shows how finding the right fonts for your industry is going to help you stand out, be bold, maybe take a risk even, and make sure that it's right for your audience and who you're trying to attract. So here, let's look at the Plaza, New York. If you guys know Gossip Girl, obviously, the Plaza is somewhere where it's known for weddings. And so if you're a venue or you're looking to compete in this space, this is something that you may want to look at. And you can see how carefully selected the fonts are for something like this. Similarly, in New York, you have something like the Rainbow Room, very minimalistic, but it has some private events and things like that. And so the fonts are very well selected. Going down to Dallas, Texas, there's an event space down here. The font pairings are a little bit different. Now we go through 50 to 100 different sites. We pick out the very best for what we think the client is going to need. Similarly, you have Waldorf Astoria and things like that. So there's a lot of different inspirations that you can have. And I would recommend that you really look at the competitive landscape and do your own branding. I mean, if you really do branding right, you don't even have to look at the competition because everything's so focused on your consumer. I shouldn't say that you shouldn't look at your competitors, but you know what I mean. You'll be able to focus more on what makes you unique rather than having to look at the industry as a whole. So the more you can position yourself as unique and different in the industry is how you're going to be able to choose a font that best fits you. So let me show you a couple examples of how you can get an idea of what fonts to use. I am a big fan of this tool. I'm not an affiliate. We're not an affiliate with them. Maybe we will be at some point. If we are, I will drop a link below. But for now, what you could do is take, and this is really useful if the client already has something that they're working with and you don't have that source file. You just drop this, you drop the image into this tool, and it will spit out options for that brand font or for that type of font that you're using. Now, this is really, really helpful also when you have a font that you know what the font is, and then you want to build off of that font. So I've actually just taken a picture of a font, and instead of Googling fonts similar to whatever that is, you can actually just take that font and find fonts that are very similar using this tool. And I found that very, very effective. Once you've found the font that you're using, it's really huge that you know the license of that font. The licensing of fonts could really cost your business tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't use the right license. And you really don't want to put your business in a legal situation where you could potentially be infringing on somebody's rights or have to get into some sort of legal battle. So I just want to show you, and this is some of the licensing terms here where they openly say that you are not permitted to embed the fonts for websites and digital ads using CSS because it's a per user basis. They also don't want you sending the fonts across different documents unless it's a read-only PDF. So you can get that license, but that doesn't come with the standard license. So to get that license, how much is that going to cost your business? Here you could see that if you were doing 50 million page views, which is a lot per month, no doubt, it could cost you over $23,000 or $23,750 to secure this specific font for that many web visits. So if you talk to most business owners and you go to them and you say, well, we want to use this font, but you're limited to the number of web page views you could get. And we deal with websites that have hundreds of thousands of page views a month. So the cost is significant. They're not going to go for it, right? And nor should you. What you can do is go for many of the alternative fonts that are either free or you can download commercial fonts that have better licensing, and then you can customize those further to make it a really unique experience. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. Before I go into which fonts to use and where to find these sources, these are really based on our experience. So if you find this helpful, please do leave a like down below and subscribe to our channel to find more helpful videos on growing your business. I would really appreciate the help. All right, so now we've got Google Fonts. This is one of the biggest foundries for fonts, and they're free and you can really use them pretty much anywhere. They're very accessible. So in our case, we found a similar font called Arsenal, which pretty much does the job for what we were looking for. In the hospitality industry, you really want to be modern and very forward in terms of your design, but you also want to hone in on the history of the brand and make sure that you're honoring the tradition of where that brand came from. Using a similar approach, what we did was we took some fonts and we found some similar fonts, and we were able to find them using that same tool. And instead of having to spend $23,000 or $10,000 or $5,000 to secure the right license, we found other fonts that are similar that have better licensing terms. And what's an even step above that is to be able to go to your downloads. And I use Envato Elements. They have really good licensing. You can read the licensing, definitely speak with a lawyer on your own. So I'm not giving you legal advice and nothing's on us. It's totally on you. But I do think that you can find a lot of different fonts using Envato Elements that you can download and then customize. So it's a really good way to find fonts. You could search it by the type of client you have, the type of industry. You can search serifs or handwritten or whatever kind of fonts that you're really looking for. It's a great starting ground, and it's also a good way to show clients a wide range of ideas before you really go in and tweak any. Once you've found your custom headline font or logo font, then I would recommend jumping right back into Google Fonts and finding a body typeface that works for you. Usually those headlines and body font types are going to make a big difference on your website, in your brochure, or anywhere else that you're communicating with your customer, especially even if you're doing a social post online where you can really use those headlines and that header font with some body text that really makes your social post stand out, make it really consistent. This is from your website to your social post to your email signature. Those fonts can really make a big difference. So when you're finding a font for your brand, definitely do your research, get into your branding, really focus on your branding as a company, but then also use some tools to be able to identify certain fonts, find similar fonts, pay attention to your licensing, and save your business plenty of money. Please definitely leave a like if this video has helped you out. And if you're looking for more information on growing your business, do check out some of these videos coming up.